What if I told you that every millionaire, every visionary, and every so-called lucky success story has one thing in common? It's not intelligence, it's not talent, it's not even money. It's something much simpler, but far more powerful, and most people never develop it. Why do some people break through while others stay stuck even when they work just as hard? I've read dozens of books on self-development, discipline, and mindset, but few have impacted me like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Not because it was flashy or new, but because it revealed something I hadn't fully understood until I started seeing it everywhere in successful people. It's not about luck. It's not about intelligence. It's about something deeper, something most people never take seriously. And once you understand it, your goals stop feeling like guesses and start feeling inevitable. In this video, I'm going to break down the core ideas, the once that separates the 1% from everyone else, and how you can actually start using it today. The first idea is definiteness of purpose. Most people go through life with blurry goals. They want success, happiness, or freedom, but they never take the time to define exactly what that means. And according to Napoleon Hill, that's the first fatal mistake. Because if your goal isn't specific, it can't guide your actions. You drift, you dabble, you react to life instead of building it. But the top 1%, they do the opposite. They decide what they want, clearly, specifically, and unapologetically, and they organize their life around it. Hill calls this definiteness of purpose, and he believed it was the starting point of all achievement. Not hard work, not luck. A clear decision and a definite goal. It sounds simple, but very few people actually do this. They wait for clarity. They chase motivation. They start one thing, then another, always wondering why they never gain momentum. But the people who succeed, they choose a goal and they commit. Let me give you an example. Take Henry Ford. In the early 1900s, he had one goal: build a car that the average person could afford. That was unheard of at the time. Cars were for the rich. They were luxury items. But Ford didn't care what was normal. He wasn't trying to build a car company like everyone else. He had a definite purpose: to create a mass-market vehicle. And every decision he made from the assembly line to the price point served that goal. People told him it was impossible. Experts laughed at him. Even his own engineers said it couldn't be done. But he didn't waver. He didn't say, maybe I'll build a cheaper car and also make high-end ones just in case. He focused, and because of that, he didn't just build a car, he changed the world. Now here's the key. Henry Ford didn't have the most advanced education. He wasn't born into wealth. He wasn't the most talented engineer. But he had something most people never develop: a clear goal and the will to stick with it. That's definiteness of purpose. And what's powerful is, this idea isn't limited to business or billionaires. You can apply it to anything. Want to improve your health? What's the specific goal, and what's the plan to get there? Want to start a business? What kind of business? How much revenue? What problem will it solve? The more specific you get, the more powerful your brain becomes. Because once you know where you're going, every decision becomes easier. Another idea is, desire is more than talent. There's a line in Think and Grow Rich that sounds almost too simple. Desire is the starting point of all achievement. Not talent, not intelligence, not luck. Desire. And if you skip over that line too quickly, you'll miss one of the most important ideas in the entire book. Because here's what most people believe whether they say it out loud or not: that the people at the top were born different. That billionaires are just wired to think differently. That elite athletes have some rare gene the rest of us don't. But Napoleon Hill didn't believe that. In fact, after studying hundreds of the most successful people in the world, from Henry Ford to Thomas Edison, he realized most of them weren't extraordinary in the beginning. They became extraordinary because they wanted something so badly that they refused to quit. Desire was the difference, and not just a "that would be nice" kind of desire. Not the kind of wishful thinking most people entertain on a lazy Sunday afternoon. No, Hill is talking about a burning obsession, a level of want so intense it reshapes your identity. You become the kind of person who achieves it, because the alternative is no longer acceptable. You can't kind of want it. You have to want it more than comfort, more than fitting in, more than avoiding failure. Look at Kobe Bryant. People love to say he was gifted, but Kobe was in the gym at 4 a.m. while his teammates were still asleep. He would train for hours before practice even started, and then outwork everyone during practice too. When asked why, he didn't say talent. He said, "I wanted to be the best." Period. Or take Elon Musk. Well, whether you admire him or not, it's hard to ignore his obsession. He didn't build Tesla or SpaceX because he thought it'd be cool. He did it because he couldn't stop thinking about it. He was willing to risk everything, his money, his reputation, his health, for something he believed needed to exist. That kind of desire doesn't rely on motivation. It creates it. And that's the shift most people never make. They wait to feel ready. They wait to be inspired. They dip their toe in the water and back out when it gets cold. But the 1% don't operate like that. They start with desire, strong, specific, emotional desire, and they let that fuel them through resistance, boredom, and setbacks. Here's the truth. Desire makes up for almost every other shortcoming. Don't know where to start? Desire will make you figure it out. Not naturally disciplined? Desire will make you consistent. Lack confidence? Desire will push you to grow into someone who earns it. Hill says this clearly. The ease with which lack of persistence may be conquered will depend entirely upon the intensity of one's desire. In other words, if you keep quitting, maybe it's not a discipline problem. Maybe the desire just isn't strong enough. And that's okay as long as you're honest about it. So here's the question. What do you want so badly that you're willing to look stupid for it? To be bad at it first? To be misunderstood? To sacrifice for it, even when there's no guarantee it'll work? That's the kind of desire Hill is talking about. And once you lock into that, once you go beyond casual wishes and into emotional obsession, talent becomes optional. Because no amount of natural ability can compete with the person who refuses to quit. Third idea, the power of belief combined with autosuggestion. There's something you'll notice if you study anyone who's truly successful. They don't just hope things will work out, they believe they will. Even when there's no evidence. Even when everyone else doubts them. That kind of belief isn't just confidence. It's something deeper, it's programmed, built. And that's where one of the most powerful concepts from Think and Grow Rich comes in, autosuggestion. Now, I know it sounds complicated, but it's not. Autosuggestion is simply this: the practice of repeating your goal to yourself over and over again until your subconscious accepts it as truth. You're literally suggesting something to yourself every day until your brain starts to believe it. And once your brain believes something, your behavior starts to shift. Not because you're forcing it, but because it feels natural. This is why most people never get what they want. They say they want success. They say they want to be rich or free or fulfilled. But deep down, they don't believe it's possible. So they don't act like it is. It's like someone saying, "I want to be wealthy." But everything in their tone, habits, and mindset screams, "That's not really me." They might set a goal, but they don't see themselves becoming that person. So they give up at the first obstacle. Or they self-sabotage the moment that things start going well. Belief is the foundation. Without it, nothing sticks. With it, everything changes. Hill understood this. He said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But the key word there is believe. And belief isn't automatic. It has to be built. This is where things like visualization, affirmations, and emotional repetition come into play. These tools might sound cheesy on the surface, but there's real science behind them. Your brain literally responds to repetition. It doesn't care if something's true or not. If it hears it enough times, it starts to accept it as reality. That's why autosuggestion works. You take your goal, something clear and specific, and you repeat it to yourself every morning, every night, with emotion, with intensity, with total focus. You see it, you feel it, you talk about it like it's already happening, not in a delusional way, but in a way that reminds your brain, This is who I am now. This is where I'm going. And when your brain starts to believe that, everything around you starts to shift. You notice opportunities you used to miss. You feel more pulled to take action. You start trusting your own direction instead of hesitating. This is the quiet advantage of the 1%. They don't walk around saying, "I hope this works." They walk like it already has. So here's the contrast. Most people say things like, "I want to be successful." But the people who actually get there, they speak and act like they're already becoming it. It's subtle, but it makes all the difference. So how do you actually use all of this? Because big ideas are great, but if they stay in your head, nothing changes. Hill gives a simple, clear framework in Think and Grow Rich. And honestly, it's one of the few goal-setting methods that actually works long-term. Here's the process. Step 1. Decide what you want. Not a vague wish, a clear, specific goal. Not, "I want more money," but "I want to earn $10,000 a month from my business by June next year." If you can't define it, you can't chase it. Step 2. Set a deadline. Your brain needs a timeline. Deadlines create urgency, and urgency kills procrastination. Even if the date changes later, having a target helps you stop drifting. Step 3. Write it down and repeat it daily. This is where autosuggestion kicks in. Hill recommends writing your goal in a short emotional statement, then reading it out loud every morning and every night. With feeling, with intensity. It's not about the words, it's about programming your mind. Step 4. Visualize it. Take 30 seconds a day to see yourself already living the result. Feel the success. Imagine the clarity. This isn't daydreaming, it's training your brain to believe. And belief creates behavior. Step 5. Take daily action. Even small steps, especially small steps. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You just need to prove to yourself every single day that you're serious about the direction you chose. And here's what I've learned from doing this myself. Clarity beats motivation. Motivation fades. You'll wake up tired. You'll feel stuck. But if your goal is clear, you don't have to waste energy wondering what to do next. When I started doing this, I stopped wasting time on half-baked goals. I stopped changing directions every 2 weeks. And that's when I actually started making progress. I could feel, not just think about. So before you move on to the next video, or scroll to the next thing, and take 5 minutes and try this. Define the goal, set the date, write the statement, read it twice a day, and take one step, just one, every day. It won't feel like much at first, but one day you'll look up and realize you're not hoping anymore. You're building. So if there's one thing that separates the 1% from everyone else, it's not talent, it's not connections, it's not even luck, it's clarity. They know exactly what they want. They decide with purpose, and then they act like it's already theirs. And most people, they dabble. They try something for a while, then switch lanes the moment it gets uncomfortable. They're always searching, but rarely committing. But the few, the ones who actually rise, they choose. And they don't let go. So let me leave you with a question. If I asked you right now, what is your definite purpose? Could you answer? Because if you can, and you're willing to pursue it with belief, desire, and action, you're already playing the game differently than most. And that's where everything begins. If you want to go deeper into these ideas, grab the book. I've added a link to the best edition down in the description. It's one of those books you don't just read once, you study it.